Welcome back to the shop. This is a 2023 YZ125. The owner, Braden, said it got stuck in fourth gear or locked up the rear wheel in fourth gear. I'm not really sure. He didn't explain it well, so I don't know what's going on, but the chain had to be taken off to be able to roll the bike off the track. So before we actually pull the motor out and split the cases, let's go to the other side, remove the clutch cover, and let's just check the shifting mechanism first. First thing, let's get the pipe off. I already drained the coolant and the motor oil before I started recording this video, so just got that out of the way ahead of time. And ignore Beavis, he's out there making a ton of noise right now because it just got done raining and he's not too thrilled about that. But let's get the pipe off. They have a nut on the backside? They sure do. Well, let's take this off. Okie dokie. Get this silencer up off there. This is a brand new FMF exhaust system. You can see how stubborn it is. It didn't fit right. That's pretty disappointing. I told the owner to contact FMF on it. They'll either replace it or fix it for him, but it doesn't seem like he did. We're only able to get one bolt in the silencer. The other one doesn't match up, and it is the correct part numbers, the correct silencer and pipe. But anyway, now we should be able to pull it off. Yeah, there we go. All right. Kickstarter off. You gotta wiggle them sometimes. Let's see. Let's try this. This one's definitely on there a little crusty, but it's coming off. There we go. Holy cow. Alright. Man, Beavis will just not shut up. He's sitting outside my door right now, just roosting away. The rain's already gone, but him and his girlfriend Butthead are soaking wet, and he's not too happy about that. Alright, take the power valve cover off. Sorry if the lighting in here is not as good as it usually is. I got some ballast lights up there. They're getting dim. I need to swing by Ace Hardware. Maybe this evening, pick up some new ones. Okay, we have to take this off, right? But you don't want to just torque on it without keeping it from rotating, spinning, because you can damage the power valve assembly. So I'm gonna find a good sized socket and put in. Let's see. We're gonna be loosening it, so it's gonna go that way. So let me see. Yeah, here we go. I'll lift it up a little bit. There we go. Of course, I'm the one that did the top end on this last time, or every time since this bike's been new, actually. So, of course, that's nice and Loctite it in as it should be. Now let's pop that power valve lever off. When you pop this off, there is a spacer right on. I don't have you in here good enough, do I? There's a spacer right here, so make sure you get that off of there. Okay, now it's time to remove all the clutch cover bolts here. Let's do that. Down there, yes there is. There's a really tight one in here. Let me get this one first. There we go. I'm trying to not remove that brake lever if I can. Alright, let me get that last one. I'm going to try using a swivel here. I'm always trying to do jobs while also trying to remove as little stuff as possible. But yeah, I think it's gonna have to come off. Let me remove the brake lever. Alright, they have on the back side here, they have this pen right here. Now we should just be able to pull it right off of there. Get it off that spring, there we go. Alright. I'm gonna remove this cover so I can get that spring out of the way. That way it doesn't get caught up when it's time to pull it off. Okay, got the cover off. These plastic guards, you gotta be careful. They will wear into your frame, put dimples. I actually made a video on this. If you use shoe goo, you can buy it at Walmart, put a layer of thin layer of shoe goo on your frame before you put them frame guards on. That'll protect your frame from that happening, and it does a great job. All right. Okay, got that one out of there. Now we can pull the cover off, I believe, at least. Let's see. Unless I missed one. I missed one right here. Duh. Let's try that again. There we go. Alright, let me go put this on the bench and I'll be back. Alrighty. Move the clutch. I mean, this kind of the iffy part is if it is just a shifting mechanism issue. Sometimes if you rode it long enough like that and had enough misshifts, it might have put a little bit of wear on the transmission, you know. So I'm hoping that's not the case, but I guess we're not going to know till we get in. Using an old flathead here, just to get that tab started. Let me get you up in there a little better, see what I'm doing. That should be good enough. Okay, let's pop this off. 27 millimeter. There we go. Slide the whole clutch off of there. Now be careful, there's always washers and bearings and stuff behind here. Let me grab all that. You'll see there's a bearing there, and there was also a washer. You want to collect all that stuff. Alright. Well, everything's looking good with the shifting mechanism from what I can see right here. So this motor's gonna have to come out. Yeah. I will take a second to mention this was the bike that I actually did the video for the shift detent fix on the 2023 YZ125. That was before the recall came out. I found the problem. I did a little bend to the spring right here to get it to bite and fixed it myself. And I did mention in the video that I can foresee Yamaha recalling this at some point, and they actually did about 6 months later. I told the owner, you might as well take it in and have them, you know, do the fix, you know, put the new updated spring in. But he said this one's working fine the way it is, so he's good with it just the way it is. And you can see it's actually held up. It has. And that's not our problem. Our problem is inside of the transmission. So, here's something that's pretty cool. You can see some of the gears right down there. I can already see what looks like markings on the teeth. You probably can't see on the camera, but from it just shedding metal and stuff, I guess. I don't know. We're going to have to get in there. Let's do it. So the tank's got to come off first. We're going to have to pull the motor. Start by getting that tank off of there. Great, dropping tools everywhere. I think this extension's getting old. Start to drop sockets. That was just a rock that hit the floor. He must have had a. Oh, and that was enough. He must have had a rock stuck underneath this shroud. All right. Disconnect the fuel line and pull the tank off. This fuel line's stuck on there. I can tell he never takes it off. There we go. And the fuel tank's off of there. Okay, I think I'll start by getting rid of this motor mount right here. Get that out of the way. So we pull this thing off of there and knock them things off with an impact. Alright, got that off there. Okie dokie, real quickly off camera what I did was I just unbolted both radiators from the frame. I unhooked the hose that goes in between them right here and to the cylinder head and was able to just kind of spread them out and put them on front of the frame. You can see right here like that. I left this hose connected in the middle. That'll hold them on the bike so I don't have to pull them completely off the bike. But that's going to give us the room we need to pull the whole motor out with the cylinder on it and everything. Alright, we need to get the carburetor off the motor. All I'm doing there is just taking off the bottom subframe bolts because we're going to pivot that subframe back to get the carburetor off the motor. Okay, the bottom subframe bolts are out. I also put a cap on this fuel line there so no trash gets in there. Loosen up the clamp on the back side of the carburetor. You want to get nice and loose too. There we go. And I should be able to just swivel this subframe right off this carburetor. Swivel it right up. Go. Okay. The goal here is just to get the carburetor off the motor so we can pull the motor out. Now I'm going to loosen the clamp in front of the carburetor. Again, there's more than one way to skin a cat. There's so many different ways you can pull these motors out, and I don't even do it the same way every time. I do it differently every time, but this is how I'm doing it today. Alright, this is it's a bigger carburetor than the previous 125s. We're going to leave, no we can't. see here. Let's pop it back on. Spin it towards us. I'm gonna remove the throttle slide out. Again, this is a bigger carburetor than the previous YZ125. It's the same frame, right, as the 2005, the 2021 YZ125, but they're now using the same carburetor that comes on the YZ250. It's a bigger carburetor than the body size of the carburetor, not the throat. The throat, they're still 38 millimeters. I thought it was funny when this bike first came out, and some of the reviews and magazines were like, it's got a bigger carburetor on it. It feels like it has a bigger carburetor. It's got that more big carburetor feel, the bogging, blah, blah, blah. No, it's still a 38 millimeter. The 21, the 05 21 had a 38 millimeter carburetor. This one has a 38 millimeter carburetor. So it's not that. The body of the carburetor is bigger because this one has a throttle. It has a throttle position sensor, a power jet. It's a totally different carburetor. Okay, we have all the lines that go through there, but they're kind of being stubborn. So what I'll do here, let me get this chain slightly out of my way, is I'll remove that cover. I have to remove it anyway. Might as well do it now. All right. I'll remove the Allen over here that holds the bracket that holds all the carburetor vent lines. I hope you can see that on camera. Let me see here. Oh yeah, barely, but you can see. Huh. Well, that hits the frame on this motor, so we'll leave that there for now. Actually, that looks like it's going to give us the space that we need. Let's see. Yeah, that worked out. Okay. By loosening this up, even though I can't get the bolt out because it hits the frame of this motor, it at least loosens that little bracket that holds the hoses on. It allows it to move around and eases up pulling the carburetor out of this side right here. Check that out. So, hey, success. We have these electrical wires right here. Let me go ahead and disconnect them now. They're all filthy, but we'll clean all that stuff up when it's time to put it together. I got the heart. Yep. Pull this off. There we go. Can I get this chain off? Whoa! Look at that. Look at that. Oh boy, that ain't good. Front, that bearing went out. Holy cow. So that's what causes this issue. Oh, that's not good. Well, we got the chain off. Look at this. Can you see that play? That's not good, guys. Even caused that thing to come loose. Dang. Well, the chain's already off, and it wouldn't matter anyway. But I will say, usually when I see this happen, it's because the chain was too tight, adjusted too tight. And when the bike compresses, the rear end compresses, right about the midpoint stroke of the rear end, the rear suspension is the tightest point that the chain will ever be. So if you have your chain too tight, when it gets to that midpoint, it's going to be way too tight. And something's got to give at that point. You know, you're landing from a big jump, and the chain's way too tight, you know, and something gives, and it's that bearing, usually. It's a bummer, but we'll fix her up. You got to get the clutch cable off of here. On this bike, I think I can see the connection for the stator right up here, so I think I'll just disconnect it. And oh man, I have like butterfingers today. It seems like I'm dropping everything. There. Oh, we don't have the clutch in there. That's right. Totally forgot that. I already have the other side of the motor opened up and clutch removed. There we go. Come on. Okay, so we're about to pull this motor right on out of here. We're not far from it. Get it on the bench, open it up. Just make sure there's no other damage. A lot of times when that bearing goes out, it does damage some of the other gears too as it's coming to a halt. So we got to get in there and see what all was damaged and what all we're going to have to order up. There, stator's disconnected. I can leave that hose on. And that, let me get these pipe springs off now. Get them things out of there. Okie dokie. I think I'll just leave the shift lever on there for now. We can remove that when it's on the bench. What I'm going to do now is remove this engine mount, that engine mount, and that engine mount. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, what I did is I knocked the swing arm pivot bolt out the other side, but not completely out at the other side. I still left about an inch or two in right here holding the right side of the swing arm on the bike, so that'll keep that whole swing arm from dangling and going everywhere. But it's far enough out that it releases the motor so we can pull the motor out. Let me make one more visual, make sure nothing's still connected to the motor, and let me see if I can yank it on out of there. Pick up my tools here, make some room for it. Okay. Everything's looking good. You know, the beauty of these 125s is they are so lightweight. Okay, stay there. Don't fall. I'm just mad if you fall. Stay there. Alright. Booyah! Motor is out. Let me get it on the healing bench. Okay. Alrighty, she's on the bench. Time to dig in. Get that shifter off there. Go ahead and move the cylinder now. I'll just leave the head attached. There's no reason to remove it. Alright, got them two nuts off of the cylinder. Turn it around over here and knock these two out. We already have the power valve disconnected because we have the cover off, but if you're doing this job, you don't have the cover off yet. Before you pull the cylinder off, make sure you disconnect that power valve lever. Okay, let's knock this off, or pull this off. Easy does it. Okay, let me take these gloves off. Wipe up the piston. I think this piston's still pretty fresh, and I'm not sure the hours on it. I'll ask the owner how many hours he's put on it since we put this piston in, so we might just reuse it. But to keep it from getting beat around, clanked around and stuff, I like to take these bags that the YZ pistons come in and just put it right over the piston. That's going to protect it during the whole job, so it doesn't get beat up, clanked around or anything. I save all these little bags from different size pistons just for this reason. There we go. And now she's nice and protected. I'm just taking a good look at the cylinder here. Let me get something to point with. I can tell this cylinder is getting towards the end of its life. You see how right here, you can see where the rings turn around. You see how it's kind of white, pale looking right here. It's getting there. I mean, I'm gonna say it's safe to finish up the life of this piston. I can even feel it with my finger. Yeah, it's safe to finish up the life for this piston, but I think by his next piston he's gonna be due for a replating at minimum, or a new cylinder. That's a bummer because this bike only has about 80 hours on it, but I gotta tell you, this Braden, he doesn't really show the bike much mercy. So, you know, that explains that. I'm going to check the bottom of the crank here, see how much residue oil is in it. I'm going to spin it, and just what I'm looking for here is I'm looking to see the migrating oil that will come up on the crankshaft. Before we go any further, now that I see the cylinder showing some aging, I don't see much. I mean, there is some. You know, he's got oil in it, obviously. But I'm going to suggest he runs it a little more. I don't know if he's running 32 to 1 or what exactly he's running, but whatever it is, I'm going to suggest more. You want to see, I like to see a little more migrating oil than that, especially when you start seeing cylinder wear like what he's putting on it. Of course, I have a video on oil ratios and what I recommend and what's right for you. I'll actually put a link down in the description for that if you're interested in seeing that. I personally, on my own bikes, I run 25/1, especially on a 125. You're keeping it pinned the whole time. Okay, let's get this crank bolt off. You're keeping it pinned literally the whole time when you ride at 125. If you're a good 125 rider, you know. But everyone's different. Every bike's a little different. Everybody's different. So make sure you catch that video if you're curious what ratio you should be running. Just because I run 25/1 on 125, that might not be the right ratio for you. Yours might be 40/1. Depends. But I explain all that in that video. All right, let's get this shifter lever off, and it almost doesn't want to come out. That's weird. Well, before I lose that, let me pull this off right here. Huh. Let me go to the other side. Let me get a punch. And then give it a few love taps. It could be bent a little bit. Again, like I said, Braden doesn't show the bike much mercy. See if I can knock it on out. There we go. That wasn't too bad, actually. I will check, though, make sure it's not bent. I bet what we have here is transmission debris down there blocking it from coming out. I can even see scratches right here. Let me wipe it up. And metal. See that metal right there? So that's what it is. There's just transmission debris up in there. Broken pieces. This is probably not bent at all. Okay, there's a washer here. Make sure you grab that washer. I'll just slide that on there. We'll clean all these parts up real good before we put it back together. Obviously, we're going to have to, because there's going to be metal everywhere. Okay. I already know the transmission has to come out. I mean, like, completely out. Pretty much. So, let me go ahead and remove that. I like to take this out. Let me zoom in so I'll show you what I'm doing here. I like to try to take it out as a complete set. Watch what I mean. Because if you just pull, well, I'll just do it and show you. I'm trying to make it where these things don't go springing off everywhere. If you ever pull one of these out, you know how it is. You have these two little pieces right here. They're spring loaded. And they see the back side here, and they like to go. I try to keep it together like that, and when it's time to put it in, if you get lucky, you can put it in just the way it is. Obviously, we're going to be cleaning that too. So I might just have to disassemble it because there's metal all over this motor. As far as this, let me see if I can get something to pry that detent down with. There we go. Come on off out there. Oh. Come on. There you go. Let me inspect this. Make sure all these edges are nice and sharp. That one. These do that. Let me wipe it up for you. So, my wife one time had a problem with her 125. She said it was really hard to get neutral. To catch neutral. I was like, huh. I replaced the clutch plates thinking maybe it was dragging a little bit. She had a lot of hours on the bike, you know, and that didn't fix it. So then I dug in a little deeper and I found this. This is a slot that the detent roller sits in when it's a neutral. And what happens is it has a tendency to wear right here and wear right there. Let me put my hand here so the camera. You see the wear right there? See it? Yeah, I have a tendency to wear right there, and then it makes it really difficult to find neutral. But let me check everything else on it. Everything else is looking good, but I think we're still going to get a new one of these. Why not? Oh boy. Let me remove that. Because again, we're going to have to pull this whole transmission out. Actually, let me get this off here now. You might as well pull the spring out. Keep spinning it counterclockwise until it'll pull out. Make sure there's no washers on it. No, there's not. Okay. Pull that off right there before I lose that. Okay, let me get this up. Use some snap ring pliers here. Uh-oh. Huh. That sucker is stuck on there. Let me see if I can tap it loose. I'm thinking metal shavings was getting under everything. Holy cow. That thing is stuck on there. Well, there's the washer for it. Got that off. But the gear is flat out stuck. Let me get a puller, see if we can pull it off. Alright, got a puller on it. Oh, no. It's stuck like Chuck. Holy cow. We're going to have to get that off there. We have to. It's supposed to be able to spin freely on there. Problem is, if I put much more torque on it, it's already bending the gear. Might break it, but it's still got to come off. We'll probably have to replace it anyway. This ain't good. This ain't good at all. Well, let me leave it on there for now till we get the motor split. We'll go from there. You know, let me see the condition of the shaft. If the shaft is trashed, then it doesn't really matter how we get it off. We can just cut it off. Let me wait till I get in there and we'll see. Wow. A lot of damage here. Okay. The good news is it is a smoker. It's a two-stroke, so typically, you know, Typically everything's kind of generally a little bit cheaper. But let me go ahead and get the reed valves off there because we're going to have to split the motor. And then we're getting in our way. Alright. Just taking a look at the reed pedals real quick. See if there's any fraying or chipping away, if we should get some new ones. They look okay. Back on this side. Alright. We can spin it now a little bit. Let's pop this sucker off here. Well, let's get the the flywheel off. Break out my flywheel puller. These are just your typical two-stroke flywheel pullers. You can find these, they're reverse thread, by the way. So you gotta, to get it on, I should say, it's reverse thread. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. So counterintuitive. Anyway, you can find these Rocky Mountain, Amazon, eBay, Motosport, pretty much anywhere. But you're gonna need one. And there is a washer there too. Ooh, there's all kind of dirt in there. We'll be cleaning that. That's magnetic, so I can just set them parts right there. Okay, let's go ahead and remove the stator. Let me see where his timing's at first. Let me show you what I mean. Alright, on the stator plate here, you have this line right here. And it matches up pretty much with this line right here. Now, on some models like this one, the YZ125, you'll notice that they put the stator plate literally a hair advanced over that line. I'm talking about like literally a hair. On the YZ252 stroke, you'll find that it is literally a hair retarded from that on most bikes. I did a video on that as well. But I'm just going to note where this is at and do my best to put it right back where it was at when I'm done. Alright, these impact drivers are really good for stuff like this. If you try to just do it by hand, sometimes it's really tough. But these are great at loosening it up without stripping them out. They're cheap and they work good. There we go. Got to split this thing in a minute and see what kind of carnage we have in here. Alright. Stator's out of there. Still need to get that off. See if I can get a old worn out flathead underneath here to start that. There we go. Where'd my punch go? Go. That shouldn't be finger loose, but we'll be taking care of that. That's what that thing... Whoa! That's not good, guys. Oh, man. Look at that. It has completely trashed the case. Wow. Well, that's a bummer. It's not good at all. It's gonna need a new case. Dang it. It's not good at all. That one we already moved when we were getting the carburetor off. Have this motor on this old turkey tray because it's going to drain. It's going to drop some oil when we split the cases. And I'm just trying to not get too much oil on my shop rags and towels so I can clean them up and reuse them when needed. He'll be getting a new front sprocket too. That thing's pretty worn out. Oh, missed one right there. Alright. Looks like all of them. We'll know in a minute. Now check this out. I popped that front sprocket off and these little ball bearings just went. Oh, what a mess. Okay, time to split the case. Oh, whoa, hold on. Transmission shaft. This thing came out of the main shaft. That's for the transmission. Should have pulled that out earlier, but oh well. No harm, no foul. Stick one long bolt right here. You guys know by now, I only break out a case splitter if I absolutely have to. As long as these long bolts will get the cases to split apart, it's quicker, it's easier, and in my opinion, it's safer because it's not going to split. The cases are not going to split if I'm missing a bolt somewhere or something's binded up. But with case splitters, you don't really know if it's binded up until you really start torquing them and bending things. So here we go. Okay, I can feel the back splitting. Try the front again. Okay, it's not splitting yet, so let me take one more peek around the case. Dun, 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 dun. Sometimes when they're virgin motors like this, they can be pretty tough, but I still don't want to take any chances. Let me make sure they don't have any hidden bolts on this side. We know what that does. That just holds that on. Okay, guess we'll just hit it some more. Yeah, these are pretty tough. But I can tell by the sound it's starting to budge. The back side's already budged. It's mainly just the front side, and that's the crankshaft holding it in. There it goes. You can see right there, it's starting to split open. So we'll be good. Again, you really can't do no damage like this. Worst case scenario, you'll bend these. Obviously, you don't want to miss and hit the case. Although, I can hit this case because, well, we'll be getting a new one, so. It's split and it's just coming very slowly, but that's okay. Alright, she's coming along. Okay, got her almost splitted here. Sorry about that. I had to answer a phone call. There it is. Now, keep in mind with these, mainly I noticed this with the YZ smokers, 250 and 125. Sometimes when they're virgins, they take a little bit, if you're going to do the bolt trick like I did here, they take a little bit more hitting to get them to split open. But after that, they seem to always be fine down the road. And if it was any tougher than this, I would have broke out the case splitters, but we were able to do it with the bolts. We did a little bit of mild bending on these, but that's okay. You can see right there, it bent a little bit. That's okay. I'll order some more. I think I got these for a TRX 250 quad trail bike. The bolts that go on the side of the cylinder head, if I remember correctly. I'll order some more of these long bolts because I've kind of bent them up on this one. You can see this one right here. But see, that's what's going to happen if you hit it too hard. You'll just bend these up. You're not going to hurt anything on the motor itself. Like I said, when with these virgin motors, if you're splitting them like this, the YZs are tough sometimes. Not every one, but some of them are tough when they're virgins. All right, let's finish it up. Yeah, metal everywhere. Oh, it's not looking good. It's not looking good at all. Yeah, look at this. Look at that. Nasty. Nasty, nasty. Yeah. We're going to replace that bearing, this case. I already know that. Check the rod here real quick. That's feeling good. So we'll be able to use the crank. I have to figure out how to get this transmission out of there. Let me go ahead and clean up my mess here. And we're going to have to figure out how to get that thing out of there. Remember that gear is stuck on the other side. Alright. Time to start figuring out how we're going to get all this apart. That sucker is stuck right on there. Okay. Let's go get the shift forks out first. There's a spring on each side for this. This one too. Get the first one out here. I'm going to check for wear. Little wear right there, but not bad. Perfectly good on this side. We know this is the left side. It has an L right there, letting you know it's the left side. That's the nice thing about some of the Japanese brands. They do mark them for you. The one up front, there's only one up front, so there's no left or right for that one. But let's see if I can wiggle it out. Actually, I can just take that out, right? Oh, let me inspect this. I'm going to clean it. We got to take a look at that. All right, let's see what we have going on here with this thing. That ramp right there looks good. Looks good there. There. Looks good there. And there. Yeah, looks good. Just looking for any wear spots where it's worn down the sharp edges here. You can see where the shift fork has been sitting right there in the middle right there. That's good. A little bit of a seam right there, but I guess that's where they cut it. Yeah, that'd be okay. Yeah, shift drum's fine. We'll be able to reuse this. Well, there's one part we can reuse out of all this. Okay, let me clean this shift fork up. I can see right there he's done a hard shift right there. One little scratch. You should only have wear on the tips here, not down here. A little bit like that can be acceptable, but if it's dug in and ate in, that means it's been jumping out of gear or has jumped out of gear one time, and you should replace that shift fork. But this one's looking acceptable. Just like the left side one right here, we had a little bit right there, but that's possibly acceptable. You know, well, it doesn't look like it's jumped out of gear on him. Let's get this shift fork out right here. Again, it has an R, letting you know that's the right side. So this side's looking good. That side's looking good. A tiny little scratch right there. So I'm going to say this transmission hasn't jumped out of gear on him. or you know, or when you put it in that gear and it goes, it just, you know, there wasn't a gear that was faulty at the time that this transmission just came apart, because that bearing came apart. Look at this, we got metal everywhere. Okay, we got to get this thing out of there. Let's see if I can wiggle this one out alone, because I know that's the problem, child. No, that sucker's stuck in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the gears that I can get off now. Always remember what direction they go. As I take them off, I'm going to lay them on the table like that. Okay, that one is locked in there because of it's hitting this gear right here. So I'll just leave that one there for now. Oh man, this gear right here is supposed to spin freely on that shaft, and it's, oh, there it goes. All right, now it's spinning freely. What we have is a lot of metal that's gotten underneath everything. Let me see if I can pull that off. I got that off, but I got it off camera. Sorry about that. Jesus, puller right here to get it off. Alright, we got that freaking thing off of there, boy. I can tell you right now, we're going to have to replace that shaft too. And that, obviously. We're going to have to replace that shaft. It's just gouged up right here. And I'd hate to reuse it if something goes south. Plus we have this that's stuck right there. So, well, I already know I'm going to be replacing all these bearings, right? Let me put a torch on this for a little bit, get it nice and hot, and then maybe, just maybe, actually, let me put this on there first. Guys, I hope you don't have to go through this. I hope your transmission's not that bad. And we'll be checking all the dogs and cogs and everything like that. And, when we have it apart, so I'll show you how to do that if you've never done any of this before. At this point, I don't really care if I break that gear. We need a new one. But I'm going to put a little bit of pressure on it, because when we get heat with the torch, maybe it'll start bouncing out on its own. Let's see. Break out the MAP gas. You can use propane too, but MAP gas is a little bit hotter. Again, I don't care about that bearing underneath there if we melt the little rubber seal on or whatever, because I'm going to be replacing it. My goal here is just to put some heat on this gear here, and you know, with heat it'll expand, and maybe it'll let go of that shaft. I'm gonna get some heat on it, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've had that sitting there now for about 4 or 5 minutes. It's getting pretty dark and hot. Let's give it a shot. Let's see. I'm gonna leave the puller on it. I'm just gonna hit back here. That sucker's just not budging. Holy cow. It's not good. We might have to just cut it off. Again, I'm almost for certain that I am for certain we gotta change out that. Let me see. We gotta change out that shaft anyway. That sucker is stuck like Chuck. Okay, time to start cutting. I'm gonna do a little cutting. I'll be back to show you what I did. Okay, if you look here, I cut 2 slits right down the side of the gear, right along the edge of the shaft, until I was able to tap it with a hammer and see the gear spin a little bit on the shaft. So let's see. Now I should be able to put this on and get it off. Let's see. I sure hope so. I don't feel like cutting anymore. It's always risky because you can accidentally, you know, nick the case or something. I heard it click. Did it move any? I don't think it did. Let's do this. That's still being stubborn. Let me go shave a little more off. Alright. I did a lot of trimming around it now. Let's see. First, let's try tapping it like this. That thing ain't budging. Man, that sucker's on there. This is not cool at all. Well. I think it's actually moving now. Yes, it is. It's coming off. About freaking time. Holy cow. That's as far as that puller is going to bring it up. Look at this. What can I do now? Let's see. Alright, this puller has a more narrow end. Okay, let me get to here so you can see a little better. I'm setting one end on here, right here. It's got to be about ready to just hop right on off of there. It's wobbling. Just need to come off. There we go. Piece of crap. Look in there. It just seized onto it. Okay, let me clean up my mess and we'll pull this transmission out and see what all parts we need for it. Okay, back at it. Let's see. Now it might give us a hard time trying to go to the bearing. See what we can do here. Maybe we can just knock that through the bearing. Let's try. I really don't know if I'm be able to get lucky and knock this through the bearing, but we'll see. No, I'm going to knock it back over. Alright, I'm going to grind away at that a little bit. I'll be right back. Okay, let's see if that did the trick. Looks like it's going to go through. Not easily, but it's going to go through. Try this. Huh, knocked the whole bearing through. That's fine. We're going to be getting new bearings anyway. Guys up in here. Alright, this thing fell off. Let me pop that back on. Oopsie. This too. There we go. Okay. Before I dig into this, let's look at that case. Okay, let's see. That bearing's in good shape. I'll keep that bearing. I'm going to replace these. These spin really quickly. This is just a shift drum bearing. As long as it feels nice and smooth, and it does. It only spins when you shift, and it feels good. But I will replace these because these haul, excuse my language, haul ass, and metal might have been getting in them. So be keeping that. Be replacing this. Be replacing this. Let me see. Make sure there's no damage in there. Nope. Alright. I'm just looking for any type of damage that might have happened. See if we have to replace this case, this side of the case too. So far it's looking good. So far it's looking like this side of the case is going to be okay. Yeah, we're looking good. That's crazy how that bearing got stuck on there like that. But okay, it is what it is. So let me set that aside. And now let's take a look at this transmission and see what parts we need to replace here. I already know we got to replace this whole shaft. I'm going to, because if you look here, look right here, you see the damage done right here? Yeah, you can probably smooth it out and reuse it, but I'm not taking any chances here. Plus that got locked up on this end, so let me get the puller out. Let me see if I can yank that bearing off of there. I got it off a little bit, but I'll worry about it later, I guess, because I'll just pop it out on the press. Main thing I'm looking to try to do is save him some money here. Let me clean this up so we can look at it. Yeah, because any gear that we can save is money saved, right? Okay. There's very little damage to that one. Let me check the teeth right here. That's just reflection. All the teeth seem to appear to be good. Yeah. Let me check the dogs. I'll look at them from this end right here. Actually, let me look at it. Yeah, they're nice and sharp. So this gear is good. This side of this gear is good. Let's see the other side. Oh, that one's a little rounded. Not bad, but just a little. See, let me get you up in here. Right here, it's just a little rounded. Again, none of these were jumping out of gear. That's the decel side. That's how sharp they should be, brand new. But they can get to right about that, you know, with some, you know, oh, right there. But let's see how the other side looks. Yeah, it's a little rounded right there. It's questionable. It'll work, yes, but it is questionable. Let me see if we have another reason that we should replace them, like if I find damage in one of the... No more damage other than that. This one rotates freely. Let's see how it feels. It's questionable. I would replace it if it was my bike, but I'm gonna give him the option. I'm gonna give him a plan A, which is replace anything that shows wear. And then the option A, and option B is just enough to make it good enough. That gear's got to go. See right there? That's got to go. So that one's bad. Let's trying to get up in there. There we go. And see how the dogs are looking on this one. That's the acceleration side. That's, oh, sorry. I'm going to say that one's pretty dang good. So that one's good, but that one's got to go. But is it good? Let's check all these teeth right here on all the way around. See a little something there. Oh man. It has some nicks on it here or there. I'm going to say, just to be safe, do this one too. This one and this one. And that one, because it's partially stuck on the shaft. So plan A is going to be, option A, I mean, is going to be that gear, that gear, that gear, that gear, this gear. But that one's good. So it's going to be all of these, but that one's good. Oh, and the shaft. Yeah. All right, let's look at this one now. I don't expect to find much damage on this one. So far, these are nice and sharp. Right here, right there, right here, right there, nice and sharp. That's going to be good. Let me check the teeth. That looks good. Next gear down, check the teeth. Little something there, but maybe acceptable. Next one down. Yeah, nope, there's another one right there. So this one's got to go. You see it right here? I know it looks like not much, but yeah, you don't want that. It'll sit there and work at the other gear that it corresponds with and wear into it, and it can cause problems where one of the teeth just break off after a while. That one's got to go. I'm going to pop this one off. Let's look at this one. A little something right here. That was probably where it got. I don't know. Oh man, it's tough. No, I see some round in here. This one's got to go. Bummer. It's getting expensive. Quickly. Let's check this one out. Well, it's a little rounded there, but not bad at all. This one can be acceptable. Yeah. How are these? Let's check out these teeth. He's This is a tough one. Let me clean it again. Tough one to call. Let's see. So far it's looking good on this side. See, that's what I noticed right here. There's little stuff like this right here. But that is pretty minor. And this is just debris that kind of got kicked up in there. Let's check out this side. I'm going to say this one's okay. Yeah, it's going to be okay. Okay. So with this one, it went on that way. With this one, what did I... Oh, got to check the one on the shaft here. That one's an important one. That one's permanent on the shaft, but you don't want any damage on that one, because then you got to change out the whole shaft. That one's looking good, so that's good. That's real good. Save some money for buying that shaft. So... Alright, hold on. So for this shaft, we're going to want this middle coupler right here. And we're going to want this gear on the end. This one's going to probably be okay. So we'll want the one on the end and the middle one. That's what it's looking like for this one. The one on the end and the middle one. And of course, we'll be also replacing any clip that we have to remove. Any of the C-clips that we have to remove to change out the gears. We'll get a new one of them. Alright, and of course we'll need a new one of these things. So that's pretty much a wrap for this one. Stay tuned for part 2. I first need to speak to the owner, figure out what route he wants to go. Option 1, which is anything that's even marginally questionable. Or option number 2, everything that's clearly bad, and the stuff that kind of, probably might be okay. Retaining that just to save a little bit of money. He's got 2 options. Let me run that by him, see which way he wants to go. I'll get the parts ordered up for that. And when the parts arrive, I will put together part 2. And we'll put this whole thing back together, put it back in the bike, and get her started up, run it through her gears, make sure everything's good to go. So stay tuned for part 2. There'll be a link in the description to part 2. If it says coming soon, then it's not up yet. But once it's up, the link will be there for part 2. And oh, by the way, if you made it this far in the video, please give it a thumbs up. I don't know who, but there's a few people out there that randomly give some of my videos a thumbs down, and I don't understand why. If you don't like the video, move on to the next video. Or if I'm doing something that you believe is wrong, let me know in the comment section, because when you do a thumbs down, you're not helping anyone, honestly. But if you give a comment, maybe I'll know why you didn't like it, and that can really help me. But if you made it this far in the video and you enjoy this kind of stuff, give it a thumbs up. I greatly appreciate it. And this weekend, I'm planning on riding MX-74 in Punta Gorda. But I think I'm going to take the YZ125. This is my 250. I think I'll be taking the YZ125 out this weekend. That's over there in the other shop. I appreciate you guys watching this video. I hope you all have a good weekend of riding. And catch you next time.